Well, we are live. I'm just gonna make sure that the mic is actually working because I just got this yesterday, so I haven't had time to, test it yet. Okay, so I gotta reload this really quick and then see if the mic's working. Well, it is live. Cinemarig says, "Sup, hi." Tyrone says, "Yes, let's go." Yeah, I would have made a ranking, but I didn't have time, so I was like, you know what? I'll just make a tier list. Why not? I don't have any other. It's just the easier version, to be honest. It's a lot easier to make a tier list than to make a ranking. So I'm just gonna, continue to do that. Okay. Chrome tab, and then go to the tier list. Share that, and we are good. I just gotta share this to the screen, and we'll be fine. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is not very good. Yeah, that's a pretty common opinion. Most people would agree with you on that. It's not a very good movie for most people, and I would agree with that. I don't think it's a very good movie. Yeah, I'm gonna test to make sure my mic's working just fine. Make sure it's not garbage. Hopefully, can you even hear what I'm saying? Can you guys not hear me? Oh, am I on mute? Yeah, dang it. You guys can't hear me, can you? I'm gonna have to turn I think the volume's off. I think that's why. Can you guys hear me now? Is it clear now? Because I'm gonna have to unplug it and then replug it in. I don't want to do that. I can hear you loud and clear. Okay, well then we just turn that down a little bit. Okay, well that's good then. If that's correct, then I guess we're good then. Let me know what you think of the mic quality. Is it better? Is it worse? Is it in the middle? Is it just okay? Yeah, let me know what you think of that. It's Christmas, everybody. Instead of spending time with my family, which, yeah, I probably will spend time with my family. Yeah. We're gonna be doing a Spider-Man tier list. Okay, let's just scroll down here. Spider-Man tier list, baby. Saw No Way Home a couple days ago. I saw it like 2 days ago. And I had a whole Letterboxd review. I'm planning on making a video essay on it because I loved it that much. It was such a great movie. I actually it was actually a lot deeper than I thought it was going to be. And I didn't come out with high expectations. I mean, yeah, overall, No Way Home, you'll see pretty high on the list. Mike sounds pretty good. Okay, well, if that is true, then I guess we'll just get into it. Spider-Man 2 sucks. Well, if you haven't seen any of this is the same guy that said he hasn't seen any of the Spider movies. If you haven't seen any of the Spider movies, how do you know if they suck though? Fair enough. But yeah, let's just get into this. Okay, so the first one, we're gonna go in by order because ranking, doing that, I think that's boring personally because then I'm not really talking about the movies. I think in an interesting way. But yeah, first movie. Okay, that's right. The original Spider-Man, the 2002 one. I rewatched this recently with my dad. We watched the whole Raimi trilogy together, and I keep forgetting how good of a movie this is. Just give me a second. I'm gonna spit out my gum. I'll come back right back. But yeah, anyways, I forget how great of a movie this really is. Like, if I'm being honest, this is one of the best comic book movies of all time. I'd say by a long shot. I think Peter Parker is fantastic. I think I don't think it's the greatest Peter Parker. I'll get to who I think the greatest Peter Parker is. Yeah. But anyways, I think that this is such a phenomenal fantastic movie. I think the cinematography, while it's not as great as Spider-Man 2, and once you get to Spider-Man 2, they use a lot better lighting, I think. I think the lighting's a lot better. It's the color grading you could debate is a little grainy, but it doesn't bother me too much. But the cinematography, fantastic. Peter's arc as he grows and matures as a person, phenomenal. That is such a great part of this movie, is the fact that we get to see Peter grow and mature as a human being. We get to see him finally realize and accept and love the man who raised him, and we see him mature, going from a boy to a man. In a way, it feels like, in a way, you could debate this a lot as a coming of age movie, because it's a lot about growth. It's a lot about maturity. And I think people don't give it really as much credit as it deserves sometimes when it comes to that aspect of it. People always say, oh, it's a stupid movie that I love. But it's like, I feel like there's a lot more meaning to it. I'm going to put it in the S tier. I absolutely adore this movie. The cinematography, phenomenal. Green Goblin, a little cheesy sometimes. Sometimes I think it goes a little bit too overboard with how goofy he is. But I think Willem Dafoe gives a phenomenal performance as he slowly descends into madness and loses all hope in his life. And then we see Peter Parker and Green Goblin, and we see them descend and grow into completely different people. And seeing that as the movie slowly goes along, I think is an amazing movie. I think it's great. And people really don't realize how small scale it is when you really think about it, because of how entertaining it is. It's a movie that's, I think, a slow build-up, but it's so entertaining and it's so fun to watch that you never notice it. It's a movie that's kind of slow paced in a way, but I think it's so deep and so entertaining and fun that I just think it's amazing. It's not the Spider-Man off of the page. Obviously, it's not that, but it in a way takes elements with how ridiculous the comic books were and adds it into the movie and makes it cheesy and self-aware, but at the same time gives it meaning, gives it purpose, gives it a reason to be like this. If you want like a full great video essay on this movie, go check out High Top's films, especially with like 2 and 3. I'd say go check out High Top's videos. Those are some phenomenal videos. And I think they really elaborate on how great this movie was and how great the next movie that we're going to talk about is. Just let me get back into the chat. Merry Christmas, bro. Merry Christmas to you, Honor. Since once you watch the MCU, this movie feels small in scale. Yeah, it is very small, but I think the reason why I think it's small, but I think it works. I feel like a lot more smaller scale movies are a lot better, honestly. I'm going to go all the way to where we were before. I don't know that it sucks. My friend just says, oh, okay. Well, your friend, I disagree with your friend, but maybe it's cool. Spider-Man's probably an A. Nah, it's an S. It's an S tier. It's a great movie. It's good, but I never liked MJ. I understand people that don't like her. I don't think she's as bad as everyone says she is. I don't hate her that much, but yeah, she's not that great. There's been better, better female protagonists in even side characters in comic book movies. My friends will probably say S tier. I mean, I agree with your friends very much so. It kind of depends on what genre you like watching. That is true. They're the MCU movies and the Raimi trilogy. They are very, very different movies. I think I'd say that. Far From Home is S tier. I already know. Micah, I swear, you're a troll, and I love you for that. William Dafoe is one, if not the best Spider-Man villain. I guess I understand that, but I don't think he's really there. You know, like I think he's a bit too goofy. In No Way Home, they kind of fix that, but it's like I think he's a great villain though. I think he's a great villain. He's one of my favorite Spider-Man villains. I just don't think that he's my favorite. You know, Evan's favorite. I go back and forth between Spider-Verse and Far From Home since I haven't watched No Way Home. You should watch No Way Home. I think it's a great movie. I think it really is. It's even if you don't really connect with it, it's still a fun time. It's still like a very entertaining movie. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the original Spider-Man. Such a great movie. Absolutely love it. What more is there to say? It's just a masterpiece. It's a masterpiece. I mean, there's a couple things wrong with it. The CGI doesn't hold up. The coloring isn't that great. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5, so it's not perfect, but it is such a great movie. It is such an entertaining movie. It's like, what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and it breezes by so quickly. It is such a great film. Okay, next one is going to be Spider-Man 2. And yeah, you already know it's S tier. It is S tier. S tier, high quality. Should I put the original Spider-Man in the S tier though? I mean, I have problems with that. I feel like S tier is like for perfect movies, you know? And I don't think the original Spider-Man's perfect. I love it, but I just don't think it's perfect, you know? Like, I mean, I'm not saying this is exactly perfect, but it's like, there's like, I think when it comes to like almost nothing you can really say is wrong with it, you know? Like, there's like maybe just like minor nitpicks, but I think every movie has nitpicks. I think I'm going to put the A tier for now. I guess we'll see how it finally comes out. But Spider-Man 2, the original. I mean, not the original Spider-Man 2. You get what I mean. There's the Amazing Spider-Man 2, No Way Home, Far From Home. Yeah, this is a great movie. I just think it's just a classic, you know? Like, it's the perfect example of a sequel. People will always say Empire Strikes Back. When I think of like a perfect sequel, I think of Spider-Man 2. Because it builds on everything the original did. It builds on everything good that the original was able to create. I think one of the greatest things about this movie has to be just the dynamic between Mary Jane and Spider-Man. I know people don't like Mary Jane in this one, but you can't deny her role in this movie is very important. I think it is a very important role, which is realizing and having Peter understand how, like, in a way, like, kind of double downing on how bad his life is, because Mary Jane is the love interest for Peter Parker, who's always frustrated with him because he can never really provide for her anything. He can't really give her the love that she needs, the love that she wants from him, because he's always so distant. He's always so far away because of Spider-Man. The thing is, in this movie, Spider-Man is in a way like kind of the villain. I think even more of a villain than Doc Ock, because everything that's wrong with Peter's life in this movie is because of Spider-Man. Everything that's going wrong with his life, he's getting bad grades, he can't get the girl, he's losing his few emotional connections with people that he even has anymore. He's lost Harry. Peter Parker is losing everything in his life, everything that's making him happy, everything that made him happy before being Spider-Man. And then seeing him lose everything, seeing him have everything crumble beneath him is so heart-wrenching. It's such a sad and depressing movie when you really think about it. It's such an emotional roller coaster, and I think that it has the potential to be an all-time classic, and it pretty much is an all-time classic now, and it's in, 2004, which I know these movies seem like they're really old, but when you really think about it, they're not even 2 decades old yet. Not even the original Spider-Man. But they are still, 17 years old, around 19 years old, and yet I think they still hold up in a lot of ways. Not exactly in the effects department. I think that they kind of can be kind of dated even in this one, and like I said, Norman Osborn's not that great in this one. But I was talking about this one, it's just so timeless in the way its storytelling is conveyed. It's not timeless in the effects. The effects aren't very great in this one either, but it is so timeless in the way the story's thought out, in the way they portray things, in the way that they show us Spider-Man. And the thing is, this is a very, in a way, anti-Spider-Man movie, because Peter Parker doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. He doesn't want to have to be him and constantly ruin his own life, which is why halfway through the movie, he ends up quitting being Spider-Man and ends up trying to live a normal life, and then realizes that that's not what he should be doing, and that he has to be Spider-Man even if it causes him pain, even if it ruins his life at points, even if no one will understand what he's going through, because he has to, because that's the right thing. That's the right decision. And even the right decisions lead to bad consequences for your actions, even if you don't deserve them, which is why I think this is such a great movie, why I think this is such a masterpiece of filmmaking. And yeah, I wish the third one was like this. I really like the third one. We'll get to that soon. But I really wish a Spider-Man 3 was able to take on how great of a movie this really was as well. Oh no. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna scroll up. Sorry, I'm just not used to having both my keys for like the up and down keys. They're actually here for once. I live in China. It's not releasing until January. Oh, that's gotta. No Way Home doesn't release until January. That sucks. I feel bad for you because it's so much more. It's so much better when you're able to see it in theaters when almost no one's seen it, and you're probably getting so many like spoilers and stuff on YouTube. I feel bad. That's gotta suck. The hype is like torture to me. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Gavin, remember when I hated The Amazing Spider-Man? I like to apologize for that because it's a fantastic movie. Well, Micah, I mean, I like it too. It's a very good movie. I'd say it's a very, very good film. I think it has so many great things, and we'll get to it soon. I do think it has a lot of problems, though. Like, Micah, even if you really like it, I mean, it still does got a lot of issues. And after rewatching, I've kind of realized that. But I still like it as a film. I still like it as a Spider-Man movie. And I don't think I ever will dislike it. The trade seed was so ahead of its time. Agreed. I'd even mention that seed is so fantastic, and it like represents all about what Spider-Man is. So yeah, yo, what's up? Spider-Man 2 is amazing. I agree with that. Yeah. Merry Christmas, by the way. Merry Christmas to you, man. Yeah, it's been great meeting you. Spider-Man 3 is fun but disappointing. Agreed. We'll get to it soon. I do like it. I think it has a lot of good aspects, but it could have been so much better. Oh, you said exactly what I was just said. When I scroll down and see that, I'm like, huh, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's interesting. But yeah, it could have been such a way better film. Okay, get rid of that. I'm not gonna need this anymore. Okay, so next movie. The next one is going to be Spider-Man 3, which I'm going to put it in the B tier for now. It's a good movie. It's a good film. I think there are some fun, amazing things to be had in this movie. I think Sandman, while the decision to kill off to have him be the murderer of Uncle Ben was a horrible idea, and it's like a big fu to. I mean, frick, by the way, okay, for people saying I'm a holy person, okay, I'm a holy YouTuber, but yeah. Anyways, it's just a big kind of middle finger to everything that the first two set up, and I hate that. But it's got some phenomenal cinematography. It takes the cheesiness all the way from 0 to 100, and I think that's fantastic. It's such a great fun time, and it's such a great popcorn movie. I'd say it's a great popcorn movie. It does have some themes that's trying to hold on to, and I think it does it pretty well. But let's be honest, it's not as great as the first two. I think it could have been a fantastic, fantastic movie, and it just didn't work. Also, that scene where there's an asteroid that has venom in it that crashes down, and it's like right next to Peter Parker and MJ, and they didn't realize it. They didn't see it. They didn't see the asteroid. That frustrates me so much. That makes me so just angry. So Gavin, how's No Way Home? Was it terrible? We'll get to it soon. I did really like it. I thought it was a great movie. I'll talk about it soon. We'll see. Also, Spider-Man 3 is the most memorable ones. I mean, that train sequence, though. That train sequence, though. The train sequence. The spider bite. Uncle Ben's death. I'm sorry. The car scene. Those are so much more like memorable to me than anything in Spider-Man 3. And while I do think Spider-Man 3 is memorable once, of course, there's that dance thing that's been memed and insulted to death. It's just not as It sounds compelling, you know? It's just like when I think of memorable moments, I think of moments that really hit me emotionally. And I don't really feel that much in Spider-Man 3 besides the funeral scene. Spider-Man Okay, let's see. Spider-Man 3 is still good, but I dislike it more every time I rewatch it. I understand that. It makes you more frustrated when you realize this is the conclusion of such a great trilogy. So, holy person I am as well. The final act is still one of the best final acts in a Marvel movie ever, other than Infinity War and Endgame, etc. I mean, maybe. I mean, the one in Logan is pretty good. I'd say that. I really like the one in Logan. The one in the Avengers, the original Avengers, I'd say is good. Trying to think of maybe a DC movie. The Dark Knight, Final Act in the Dark Knight's pretty good. Hey Fritzky, Merry Christmas. But yeah, the final act, it's like, I don't know. It's just, I don't think it's that great. It's good. I like it. It's entertaining. It's just not as great as I'd say it is. I don't think I outright dislike any of these. No Way Home is towards the bottom for me, but other than that, I enjoy to a degree. Okay, well, I mean, I really like No Way Home. I'll talk about it soon. I definitely disagree with you though, but I understand that. You know, like they're all at least. I'd say that I at least enjoy them, but I'm not gonna rewatch them again. Like we'll get to the one that everyone knows what I'm talking about. You know, if you know, you know, but it's not as great as all the other ones. But this is pretty consistent, to be honest. I'd say the Spider-Man movies, for the most part, they're all very consistent. You know, I can't really think of many that are bad. I definitely agree with you on Spider-Man 2. Great sequel, and that train sequence was awesome. Agreed. That train sequence was art. Hey, Fitzko, what's up? The Dark Knight is incredible. Yeah, it is. Oh, wait, I meant to say Far From Home. Far From Home. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay. I was thinking, No Way Home, really? I mean, I really like that movie. But yeah, I get it. It's like the confusion because they're all named after home, and they can't just call it Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3. They can't do that. So they had to come up with something. And for some reason, they decided to stick with the Home trilogy, which I guess kind of makes sense because it's coming home to Marvel. But it's a weird thing to keep sticking with. Scratch that. I meant Far From Home starts at the bottom for me too. But but still, even that one I enjoy. Okay. No Way Home is in top 5 easy. Yeah, I can't wait to talk about No Way Home. No Way Home. That's gonna be an interesting discussion. But yeah, Spider-Man 3, good movie. I just think it was disappointing. It was kind of a disappointment. Sandman. Also, it's like that's our introduction to him. I mean, it wasn't, but like the CGI though in that movie, it's so over CGI, and apparently it had like the biggest budget ever, and that might have been a lot from the CGI. But yeah, Spider-Man 3, just good. It's a good movie. I like it. It's just not as great as the other ones. The Amazing Spider-Man. I'm going to also put this in the B tier. If this was like, I don't know, 5-6 months ago, I would have put it up here. But after rewatching it, to be fair, I did fall asleep. I was falling asleep around like the final act. But it's like, I watched the entire movie for the most part, and I remember every single thing that happens, and I remember it in very specific detail that I didn't, watch when I fell asleep when I watched it. But when I was awake while watching this movie, I kind of remembered how it's so flawed. Like, I don't know why I like passed all the flaws in this movie, but there is so many problems with it. Like, there is a lot of issues with this movie. And I was going to make a review on it, but I ended up not doing that. Instead, doing a tier list where I talk about all of them. But The Amazing Spider-Man has so many issues. And I think one of the first main ones to talk about is the lizard. I hate this freaking stupid design. I'm gonna pull up a design just so I can show you how much I hate this thing. I don't know why I didn't bother talking about it or bother faulting it when I first saw the movie. Like, why didn't you just put the snout on? It's disgusting. It looks like a freaking dinosaur. They even say this in Far From No Way Home because they're aware of how stupid and ugly this freaking design is. I hate this design more than anything. It is so ugly. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So, we're going to show. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So, I'm going to share. Okay, so we're going to do that, and then we're going to share screen, and then we're going to share the entire screen. So now, look at this thing. I hate this. Look at this. What the heck is this? What is this? This looks like a Tyrannosaurus Rex without the snout. It does, though. Look at this. It looks... I get maybe they're trying to kind of have the human face a little bit, but no, just make it a full-on lizard. Look, I'm gonna look up the original lizard, like the lizard from the comics. Why not use like this? This looks awesome. This looks cool. I would have put this on my wall. This looks great. Why not put this on? You know, why not do this? Here, look at this. There's this, Reptilian Rage. And then there's the original one, which even then is good. There's so many different designs. I gotta pick out so many. I mean, this... No, that looks bad. But this looks sick. Why not use this design? Why didn't you use something like this? Put the snout on it, and it actually wouldn't look that bad. The rest of it would be fine. I wouldn't be too bad at it. But... they went with the stupid, ugly design with the snout. Why would you do that? It looks disgusting. I want to vomit now. You know? It's just bad. You know? It's just really bad. It frustrates me because take that out and the design wouldn't be that bad. But, okay, beyond my whole spiel of how ugly the lizard design is, now we get to talk about how he wants to turn the city into lizards. I looked past this when I first watched it, and I regret that because it's such a stupid plot line. It is so dumb. They needed a comic book plot line, I guess. And I was watching a video on this, and someone was saying why the lizard is so cool is because it's kind of like a werewolf. It doesn't really have a clear plan. And now after thinking about that, you know what? I agree with that. You know, why not just have the lizard not have a plan? That would have been more interesting. He would have just been like, I don't know, destroying things, you know, because it's a lizard. It shouldn't have a plan. It shouldn't have a plan to turn everybody else into lizards. That's dumb. That's stupid. And I understand that it's trying to go with a comic book plotline, but if you're taking your movie this seriously, you shouldn't have a plot like this. In the Raimi movies, this would have worked fine. This would have been good, actually. Like this, because they would have had the dumb self-awareness of how stupid it is, and it would have taken it far enough. But this movie is trying to be serious, and I think the drama works. But this plotline doesn't fit in a movie like this. It's like you kind of have to have a goofy tone, but it's like the lizard was a good choice for a dark superhero Spider-Man movie. I think that's a great choice. But not the plotline. The plotline holds it down. I guess another thing to talk about is the fact that it rehashes the story, and sometimes it just doesn't do that great of a job. They'll change things here and there, but they just aren't that great. Also, the whole Peter Parker's parents plotline, don't add that in here. Part of the whole point of the first movie was for Peter Parker to learn that Uncle Ben, that doesn't matter who birthed him, but it matters that Uncle Ben was the man who raised him. Same with Aunt May, how they were that they were basically his parents, that they were the people that raised Peter Parker. And seeing them trying to solve Peter Parker's parents, it kind of takes the whole point out of it. Now, it would have been cool if they kind of like made him realize, Peter Parker realize that it doesn't matter about his parents, and that really, it only matters about who are the people that raised him. And they kind of do that in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, but not that well. Not well enough for me to not fault it as a problem, as a major issue in this movie. But beyond that, it's a really good movie. I really like Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone. They got great chemistry. Obviously, they have phenomenal chemistry. And I think it's a very real and grounded take on Spider-Man. It's a very grounded take, I'd say. But there are some major things that hold us back from being up here and here. And it's disappointing because it could have been up there and there if they didn't make really dumb decisions. Okay, let me scroll up. Okay, I'm gonna scroll. I'm surprised that you really like No Way Home. In fact, you and Micah both. Same. No Way Home is number one. I mean, not for me, but if that is true for you, then that's great. Gavin, you're not alone. I absolutely hate Far From Home. I don't think I am as alone as it seems like. I mean, I've seen other people bash it before. So, yeah, there's other people like us. There's other people that dislike the movie as well. So, I don't think we're completely alone. It's just that a lot of people like it. It's just a lot of people like it. Spider-Verse 2 for me. Well, that's great. I mean, we'll get to Spider-Verse. It's a great movie. It's generic to say, but it's just good. It's good. It's praise for a reason. I agree, Micah. First watch The Amazing Spider-Man 3 out of 10. Second watch 9 out of 10. I mean, you like it more than me now. I'd say you like it more than me. I mean, I think it's like high B tier. I think it's like a really high 8 out of 10. I just think there's issues with it. Andrew Garfield's such a good actor. He really is. He's probably the best Peter Parker, to be honest. Out of all the Spider-Mans, out of all the Peter Parkers, I'd say he feels the most real. He feels the most realistic. He feels the most like a normal teenager. He's a jerk. He's like a jerk. Like he's not a nice guy. You're not supposed to like him in this movie. And when people say like, oh, he's not like the Peter Parker where he's like sciencey nerd and stuff like that, but it's like he's this emo kid that skateboards. I don't even mind the skateboard besides that awful fever dream of like him montaging the skateboard. That was awful. But like he feels more realistic. He feels more like a natural, normal teenager, and I like that more. The lizard looks like a T-Rex from Jurassic Park that got bullied for a lack of a snout. Yeah, that is true. That is completely true. Oh, the lizard is pointless. No Way Home called them. Yeah, they did. They called him a T-Rex. They called him they called him a dinosaur because he looks like a dinosaur without a snout. Yeah, Lizard is the reason why it's not 10 out of 10. Yeah, Lizard sucks. The Lizard, it sucks because he's the main villain, and he's trash. My main problem with this movie is I can never take the story of Dr. Connor seriously due to the I don't blame you. Andrew Garfield deserves all the positive buzz. Yeah, and he gets bashed for it so much for some reason, even though it's not his fault. It's not even Mark Webb's fault. It's the studio for like messing everything up. The Flash in this movie is so underrated. Yeah, he is good too. I forgot to mention him. Like he actually seems like a normal, natural human in this movie. He seems like a person. Like he seems like a Flash that like I feel like was kind of missing in the original Raimi trilogy, and he's kind of one and that was missing in the MCU. He's like the only good Flash. Whose idea was to send those in this fight? He looks like, yeah, exactly. I also agree. Say what you want, but because Electro, but he's incredible compared to the Lizard. Now that I disagree with. We'll get to it soon. We will get to The Amazing Spider-Man 2 soon, but I'm sorry, I can't agree with that. Lizard has a weak motivation, but his dialogue is pretty cool. I mean, I didn't really like his dialogue, but, good for you. That's great for you. I don't agree with it, though. Oh, and Peter's parents, who cares? Uncle Ben and Aunt May are his parents, and we care about them. Exactly. That's like the whole point. That's like part of the whole point of the first Raimi movie, And I get it. They don't have to be exactly alike, but it's like that's such a major point of why the first one's so good. I liked Far From Home, and it definitely has flaws. Yeah, it's a flawed movie. I get how people could enjoy it, but I just don't get how anyone could like say it's a good technically movie. You know, like I'm pretty sure 47 apart from CGI and visual effects, it is, but that doesn't make it bad. What makes it bad is that it's just a dumb movie with terrible plot points and just terrible ideas. It felt like a bunch of fan fiction. Also, Gavin, what are your thoughts on Mary Jane and the Raimi trilogy? Because I don't care about her. I mean, she has kind of a purpose, I'd say. Like, there's the whole point where, like, her and Peter have this chemistry, and sometimes their romance actually can, I'd say, be very heartwarming. And it's something that I very much like a lot of the time. I just think that sometimes it can be really bad. Like, sometimes she can just be very selfish and hypocritical. I like the whole Gwen Stacy thing where she like where Gwen Stacy and Spider-Man kiss. That is a terrible move. That's also something I forgot to mention about Spider-Man 3. That didn't make sense for Peter to do. I hated that whole thing. That didn't make any sense. But then it's like Mary Jane's like talking about how she hates Peter for it, and then it's a very emotional scene. But it's also like Mary Jane's kind of been like this person that goes with like the astronaut guy and then goes back and literally ditches the astronaut guy just so she can go back to him. Like you can really not talk. But beyond that, I don't hate her as most people. I actually kind of like her sometimes. Better than MCU MJ. I mean, I think she's okay. Like the MCU MJ, Michelle Jones, she's fine. She just isn't really memorable. I don't have any like memorable things to say about her. Honestly, Gwen's the best out of like the love interests. I mean, I would say I think she's great in both movies. I mean, I think Gwen, out of all three love interests that we've gotten for Spider-Man so far, she's easily the best. I think out of all of them, in my opinion, at least. But yeah, that's the Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's good. There's so many issues. There's big problems with it that I just can't ignore. Okay, next one. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I mean, do I really need to talk about this movie? I'm sorry, but it is so beaten to death that it feels like I'm just being bland and generic and beating the horse at this point if I just talk about why this is bad. You know, it's just such a generic opinion. I mean, I'd say most people would probably put it here, but it's just so bad and it's so flawed. And there's just so many issues with every single thing about it. I mean, the visuals I'd say are really great. I think Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker, they have great chemistry, obviously, just like they did in the first movie. And Mark Webber has some good ideas. Electro on paper could be decent. He could be a decent villain. Same with Harry on paper with the rewrites. He could be good, but they had to rush it and put so much crap in this movie that it doesn't really feel like a movie anymore. It feels like a corporate product. Like the whole montage where it's like, and I'll be there for you. Like the whole thing with that. It's like that whole music montage. I hated that. I hated that so much. That was a disgrace to this movie. And it wasn't even good to begin with. Like that is like disgraceful. Even for a movie this bad. Like it's not good. It is not good. The Rhino sucks. Why was he even in the movie? I don't know. The endings for the movie though actually was pretty okay. Just everything else sucked. In the scene with the bell tower and Gwen Stacy dying, that was actually really good. That was by far the best scene in the movie. Probably the best scene out of both movies. It was such an emotional scene, and then seeing it at the end and how Peter maybe could have actually saved her, and then having that regret and incorporating No Way Home. I thought that was great. It has so much going for it, you know? And it could have been good if the studio didn't interfere. Mark Webber could have made a movie I'd say might have been in the A tier. Like maybe, I mean, I don't know if it's possible for it to be in the A tier. Maybe it wouldn't even be that good. But it would have been a good movie that I think would have at least surpassed the original and maybe even gotten up here. But it just didn't reach that level. There's so many things wrong with it. There's so many issues. It's hard for me to really put it any higher. It's hard for me to put it even in the okay tier because it's got so much good stuff. Like, it has some really, really great things. but then it has some really, really bad things, and it's hard for me to really put it as a good movie. Okay, so I gotta do something real quick. I'll be back pretty soon. Okay, I'm back. Let's see. Let's read all these comments. No Way Home, the DCEU. I mean, for the most part, yeah, I'd say so. Probably almost all of them. I'd agree with this. I mean, I love the DCU, but like, I love No Way Home, so. I mean, No Way Home is definitely better if you don't count the Snyder Cut. I mean, I think it's better than the Snyder Cut, though. And this is coming from someone that loves DC. I love DC. I think the Snyder Cut's great, but it's like, I think they're very close. I think No Way Home's better, though. America's overrated for me, but it's completely fine if people enjoy it. I mean, maybe I can understand that. It's hard to rewatch. It's something I don't know if I could rewatch because it's just so long. But like for what it is, it's like fan service, you know? It's such a great movie. And I wish it was like a theaters or something so I could watch it then, but it makes sense why it's not. But it's such it gives me like everything I wanted from Justice League, the original. Like not the original, the Whedon one. Homecoming better be an A tier. Well, you're gonna be sadly disappointed. Sorry about that. Sony is the reason those films failed. Agreed, I'd say so. I mean, I don't think Spider-Man 3 failed. I just think it could have been better, you know? Like, there's so much holding it back from being on par with the first two. They butchered those Andrew Garfield films. I mean, I don't know if they butchered the first one really that much. It was mostly just, like, the second one, for the most part, I'd say. I think the first one really was just... I don't think they really butchered that. There's been, like, anyone saying that it's been butchered, so I'm just gonna guess that it's not. Okay, Homecoming. Actually, yeah, Homecoming. Homecoming's next one. B tier. I know it feels like I'm just kind of butchering the fact that I'm literally putting like I put pretty much the majority of them in the B tier so far. I don't have much to say about this movie, to be honest. It's just good. Spider-Man Homecoming is a good, fun Spider-Man film that really could have been better. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like part of it that holds the movie back is the fact that Peter has like absolutely no consequences with like the majority of the mistakes he makes. Like a building burns down and like nothing happens out of that really. Like there's so many other things that Peter does, so many things that could be possible for a mistake that he makes, and then they just don't happen. And the thing is, part of Spider-Man was the fact that Peter Parker's struggling to balance his life, and then seeing the fact that in Homecoming, he gets like zero consequences for almost anything he does, and everyone seems perfectly fine with him ditching randomly, especially his love interest Liz, who he'll leave, and she's not really mad at him at all for it. Like she doesn't really seem angry or like in any way mad, which is weird because you think she would kind of be mad because Peter's been doing nothing but ditching her. But yeah, it's just like there's just nothing that really is consequential to Peter, really. Besides, like the end of the movie, to use Stark Tech's stuff and like learn that he's more than just what he's using, and that he's more than just the suit, and that seeing him earn the suit, I think is a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a heartwarming thing to see. And then seeing in that scene, like the "Come On, Spider-Man" scene, where he's lifting up a building that's underneath him, that's like above him. That's great. That's stuff I love. And the Vulture's great, but I just think that there's issues with it. There's problems with it. I don't really have many issues with Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I don't really find that, but it's like Peter doesn't really have as much of a character arc, and there's just things that are like okay and then fine, and then there's no consequences for that, and I just don't like that. I don't like that about this Peter Parker, and you'll see that a lot, and I'll bring that up a lot in the second Marvel Spider-Man movie. But yeah, I think Homecoming is a very, very good Spider-Man film, but it's not as great as it could have been, I think. I know The Amazing Spider-Man 2 isn't great or good for that matter, but I really enjoy it because it's a fun Spider-Man movie. The death of Gwen Stacy was great in my opinion. Emma Stone is great in the 2. I mean, yeah, I understand that. I like that about The Amazing Spider-Man 2 too, but and it is enjoyable somewhat, but it's like I just can't get in. I can't get over how much of a disaster it is script wise. Like the script is so insanely messy, and some of the villains are just terrible. Like the Green Goblin is just too much like a goblin. It's just so goofy, and it doesn't fit this universe at all. Like this was supposed to be like the serious, you know, world and universe, but then it just got so dumb, and just the villains just don't fit this franchise, like this sort of dark franchise. The Lizard could have, but they didn't really, and he just became stupid. Yeah, it's like you need a goofy. It's like you either need a goofy tone or you need to like make these villains serious, and they don't make them serious. Out of all the references to Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy's the best one. I agree with you. Yeah, she is. She is by far the best one. No competition, in my opinion. But yeah, Homecoming, good movie. It's a good film. I just think that there's problems with it, and I just don't really love it that much. It's just a good film to me. Okay, next one, Spider-Verse. I mean, it's got to be put in F tier. It's so bad. No, well, obvious. Okay, no, I'm not putting it in F tier. No, okay. I mean, you know what? It's basically an S tier. It's basically an S tier. I mean, it kind of goes from here and here, I'd say. But come on, it's Spider-Verse. It's basically like an all-around phenomenal masterpiece. I don't have anything. I don't think there's anything that I could possibly say about this movie that hasn't been said like 500,000 times, or even 1,000,000 times. It's such a. I mean, the animation is absolutely fantastic. It is some of the greatest animation ever. The way it looks like a comic book. It looks like it's like a comic book that came out to life. That's something you can't do in live action. Something that's impossible to do. And they tried it in animation, and it works brilliantly. Okay, Miles Morales. I don't know if I call him the best Spider-Man. Like I mean, the one from Spider-Man 2 is so good. It's hard to top that. It's just, but it's basic. It's almost a tie. They're almost like on the same level. it took this multiverse concept and had so many different characters, and I'd say that all of them are great. You know, they all have their own distinct personalities. I know some people say Penny Parker didn't have any time to shine, but it's like out of everyone, I mean, it's like with how many characters there are, it's like, do we really need to know about Penny Parker? You know, like Spider Noir is great, voiced by Nicolas Cage of all people, and he does a great job. And Gwen Stacy is great. Just everything about this movie is great. You could say that Spider-Man Noir, not Porky Pig. What did I say? Spider. I forgot what do they call him in it? Really, I forgot. I should remember this. Spider Ham, yeah, Spider Ham, and Penny. They didn't need to be there, but I feel like that added to the comedy flavor of the movie, and they bantered off with each other pretty well. So much where I don't even care. It's just such a great movie that everyone should probably watch, and every Spider-Man fan. That it's like if you don't love this movie, like I don't know if you're a Spider-Man fan, to be honest. You know, like I'm not saying like oh like if you don't love this thing like you're not like a true fan or whatever, but it's like I don't know how a Spider-Man fan could not at least appreciate this movie, you know, because it's like a celebration of Spider-Man. It's everything that Spider-Man's about, and it appreciates that, and it's so aware of that, and it's so aware of the character and understands it. It's like they understand the character so much. It's like where it makes me frustrated with the MCU Spider-Man that, you know, why couldn't we have this for an entire trilogy, you know? Okay, let's go to the comments. I went on for a while. Hey dude, I love the DC. Hey dude, I love the DC movies too. The Snyder Cut is easily the best one. Also, I blame Sony for what they did with Spider-Man 3 and The Amazing Spider-Man. I mean, yeah, I do as well. I don't think it was really Mark Webster and Sam Raimi's fault. It's just that Sony interfered and they kind of ruined the movies, to be honest. Homecoming is trash. Why did I say track? Homecoming is trash. JK, I really enjoyed it. So much better than you know what movie. Yeah, we know. We'll get there soon, trust me. No Way Home and Homecoming. No Way Home and Homecoming satisfy a lot of MCU fans, while Far From Home, I'm guessing you mean, at least from the leaks, seems to satisfy a lot of Spider-Man fans. I guess that's what you mean. I don't know what you mean, to be honest. I don't know. I like Spider. I like Homecoming, especially the Vulture, but yeah, Liz is just kind of there. She's not that great. I just enjoyed. I just joined. What do you think about Tobey Maguire? I think he's a great Spider-Man. I think he's a very cheesy actor. I was worried how they're going to pull him off in No Way Home, but I thought he did well. I thought he did a great job. You know, I just think he's just a great actor. You know, he's able to pull it off, and I think no one's gonna ever be like him. You know, Spider-Verse is pretty much a comic book brought to life with the great animation. Yeah, it is. But even in like the way it's told, it's like that too. It's not just the animation. It's like the storytelling as well. What's Up Danger has to be one of the best animated moments of all time. I can't pronounce for some reason. It probably is probably the best comic book movie moments of all time as well. I'm eating Spider Ham right now. Haha, funny. Spider-Verse is fantastic. Sony did right after the Emoji Movie crap. Yeah, I mean, I don't absolutely hate the Emoji Movie. It's just not good. It's just not a good movie. It's just bad. Sony Animation has to be one of the most inconsistent animation studios ever. Yeah, everyone kind of talks about that they made Spider-Verse after the Emoji Movie. They're very inconsistent, but it's like when they have the good people in their team working on something, they make great stuff. They just need to have only the good people working on their team, I think. They go back and forth between amazing and dreadful films. Yeah, that is true. They really go back and forth all the time. But when they make something fantastic, you can't deny that it's just great, that they will make great movies as long as they have the good people on their team working on them. But yeah, overall good, overall great movie. Now we go into the one that everyone probably wants me to talk about. Far From Home. It's just a bad movie. I'm sorry, but it's like on a technical standpoint, it's probably in the D tier, I guess. But when you think about it as a whole, it's just bad. It's just a bad movie. When you just think about it when you just really think about all the stuff that happens, it is dumb. It is on the level of this movie when it comes to stupidity at points. It is so stupid when it comes to Mysterio. Mysterio's twist villain was embarrassing as a twist villain because let's be honest, everyone knew he was gonna be the bad guy. Everybody knew. There was no way that you really couldn't have known because he's supposed to be the bad guy in the comics. I saw that when I realized, oh, he's supposed to be like the guy. Nah, he's the bad guy. This is a twist. And when they did that, I was like, oh, what a shocker. And then they spent like 50 minutes, well, not 50, but they spent like 15, 10-ish minutes or something like that to reveal and explain the entire twist. I don't care. I don't care about this movie. I just don't care. Okay? I don't care. And it feels like a Disney Channel movie with the way that the dialogue's presented. Like, I get it. Marvel's kind of corny sometimes unintentionally. They're kind of cheesy sometimes with the way they have their dialogue. But this was just bad. Like, it was like Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network movie level of bad when it comes to the dialogue with how just like, oh, look, baby mountain goats. Shut up. No, this isn't a Spider-Man movie. This is supposed to be in a franchise. I just count it as a franchise. I don't care. That has movies like Spider-Man 2, Spider-Verse, the original Spider-Man, and even these three. And then you make this crap. And you decide to release this right after the Spider-Verse. This work of art was released. You release it like 7 or 8 months after that. This was a masterpiece. This was great. This showed everyone and celebrated to everyone why they loved Spider-Man. And then you gotta mess it up with this piece of crap that doesn't understand the point in Spider-Man. Spider-Man's arc is an embarrassment in this movie. The whole point of it is for Peter Parker to get these glasses that are apparently one of the most dangerous weapons on the planet, and they decide to give it to a 16-year-old or a 17-year-old or something. He's around that age. But Tony Stark decides to do that. Now, I would understand if they would want to wait for him to have them. I understand he'll maybe wait for them when he's older. But they don't decide to do that. They decide to give them to a little child. Why would you do this? This is stupid. And then when he decides to murder one of their classmates as like a funny haha joke, that made me want to throw up in my stomach. That's just bad. That's dumb. Okay, yeah, but what I was saying, I don't know, where did I left off? Well, what I was saying was that it's just an embarrassment to me how terrible of an arc Peter has in this movie, the whole giving glasses to him and everything like that. Why would you do this? This was a stupid idea from the get-go because you executed it so poorly, and it's like, he decides, I'm not going to be Tony Stark, I'm going to be like my own man or whatever, and then makes a suit that probably Tony Stark would probably make for him, That seems very similar to Iron Man. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make any sense. This whole movie doesn't get Spider-Man, doesn't have a point to it, doesn't have really anything. Apparently, Peter Parker, like, he tries to grieve, but it doesn't feel like he's grieving. It doesn't feel like we feel the weight on his shoulders. I don't feel anything from this movie. It's a nothing movie. It's garbage. It's an embarrassment. Besides the post-credit scene. The post-credit scene was good. But for the most part, this is a trash movie. They even ruined Ned. Okay? That alone puts this in the F tier. Okay? Ned is the best character in the MCU Spider movies. But yeah, No Way Home. Far From Home. Not No Way Home. What the heck is going on? I don't want to put it there. Well, I guess we'll just keep it here for now, even though it's not going to be there. Don't worry. I'm not putting it in the F tier. Calm down. Okay, I probably should share my screen because I just realized I did not share it. Okay, yeah, I know it seems like No Way Home's in the F tier, but trust me, it's not in the F tier. Okay, trust me. It says No Way Home's in the F tier, but it's not. Okay, it's not. Spider-Verse is fantastic. Okay, well now we gotta go. Far From Home is honestly my favorite Spider-Man movie. It's really stupid to recognize that. I don't know what it stands out to me, but though that's fine. Sometimes we all just like movies that we just don't get. You know, it's your opinion. You know, like what you want. That Mysterio villain twist was stupid, and that's coming from someone who hasn't read the comics. Neither have I, but I just know he's a villain in the comics, and it just didn't surprise me. I actually had the worst theater experience ever watching Far From Home. I accidentally walked into the wrong theater, right into the scene where Mysterio's beating up Peter with his illusions. That's gotta suck. And that's like one of the few good scenes in the movie. Also, this movie feels like an Iron Man movie. Marvel's Iron Man is dead. Let the man rest in peace. It does kind of feel like that, but it's also like Peter Parker was very important to Iron Man. So I get kind of even doing that, but it's just like, you know, it's like it doesn't feel like they really care about that, you know? It didn't feel like that to me. That bus scene was terrible. Baby mountain goats, I don't give a crap. I get. Yeah, but the jokes were bad. They weren't funny. Peter's teachers, whoever his name is, was ridiculously stupid. I didn't have much of a problem with him, to be honest. I didn't hate him. I hate Captain Marvel and Far From Home, agreed, but I don't like either of them. Ned is the GOAT. How could you ruin a lovable character? Exactly. He should be the main character. Make Ned the main character. I know with No Way Home that's kind of hard, but just do it anyways. No Way Home at F. Yep. Yeah, I'm sorry, but No Way Home, bro. No Way Home at F. Yeah, I just don't. I hate it. I hate it as a movie, and I forever will hate it. The post-credit scene was fantastic. Agreed. But dang, Far From Home. Far From Home and No Way Home aren't being disrespected here. For the last time, I'm putting in the F tier. I can't put it back down, okay? I can't get it out of here. So I'm just putting in the F tier until I put in where I'm actually going to put it, okay? It's not in the F tier. Calm down. Peter's teacher is also in The Incredible Hulk. Actually? Huh. I didn't know that. Okay, No Way Home. And now I'm going to put it in the actual spot, okay? Okay? Now we're going to put it... Yeah, I really like the movie. I think overall, when it comes to No Way Home, it's flawed, okay? When it comes to, I guess, a technicality point, you could put it in the B tier because there's a lot wrong with this movie. Okay, the whole thing at the beginning where he has financial problems and Charlie Cox just makes everything better. And I've watched the first 2 seasons of Daredevil, okay? He struggles with cases. He struggles with a lot of cases. So this is just no, okay? This doesn't happen. The Charlie Cox scene, though, was good, though. Okay. But I will say, if you haven't seen No Way Home, click off of this. Spoilers. I just spoiled the Charlie Cox thing, but don't worry, it's not that big. It's not that big. But if you haven't seen it, you want to click off, okay? Because there's gonna be spoilers. I'm gonna spoil the movie, okay? I'm gonna spoil the living crap out of it. So if you haven't seen it, you might want to go now. But anyways, talking about the movie, talking about No Way Home, spoiling it as much as I want because that's how I am. I love this movie to such a great extent. It is such a great movie when it comes to the arc because finally Peter gets a decent arc in here. I'm not saying the one in Homecoming was bad, but it just wasn't as great as the one in No Way Home. We finally get to see Peter grieve. We get to see his emotion. We get to see it all let out in this movie. When we finally see Aunt May dying and she's there on her deathbed, it's so sad to me. It makes me so sad seeing that, seeing her gone, seeing her leave, seeing her just be gone from Peter's life. Now, Aunt May was always portrayed as like the cool mom in this movie. It was always portrayed as the cool mom. So it's hard to really have that build up with that. But when we see her, dying, and then we see that scene where she finally says it, something I've been waiting for these movies to say. 3 movies now. I've been waiting for someone to say this, and it was Aunt May. With great power comes great responsibility. And finally seeing Peter understand that, finally seeing Peter get that, and then and then seeing Aunt May dying, and then Peter grieving as much as possible, feeling bad, feeling angry, realizing that it was his fault. Okay, sorry, there was another glitch again. It keeps happening. I mean, I don't know exactly where I ended or where I started, but what I was saying, Peter gets consequences to his actions, god dang it. And seeing that in this movie, seeing him grieve and seeing Andrew and Toby having to pull him out of this, having to pull him out of this dark place, making sure he doesn't go down this dark path, and then seeing them making sure he's okay and making sure that he doesn't go down a path of revenge and hate. And seeing that in this movie is beautiful. It makes that they write them in a way where they have a purpose of being here and they're not just here just to help Peter fight like all these other baddies. And I mean, for the most part, I like the bad guys in this movie. Sandman, I don't feel like his motivations really make sense on really because the whole point of him being with Toby, the whole point is him and Toby forgiving each other and stuff like that. So it doesn't make sense for them to really fight against each other, I guess. That doesn't add up to me. But beyond that, the villains are fun. It's a fun movie. It's a very entertaining movie, but it also has a great arc for Peter. It has a phenomenal arc for Peter. And seeing him at the end making that mature decision to have everyone forget he's Spider-Man and realizing that's the best solution to everything is beautiful. This movie, while people say it's fun, I think it has very great, meaningful things about it. And I think seeing Peter Parker mature and grow as a person, and maybe we'll get another trilogy or something like that where it's Peter Yeah, but like I said, this is Spider-Man to me, and I'm excited for what they're gonna do for the rest of his character. I really am. I'm excited for whatever they're gonna do, whatever the heck they decide to do. I hope it was as good as this. Unfortunately, I got spoiled by seeing the lake. That sucks. I'm sorry about that. Honestly, I don't care about spoilers. I'm not going dark on social media for a month. Well, okay, well, if you say so. That's your decision, I guess. The ending is sad yet somehow satisfying. Yeah, that's kind of how you could explain it. That's how a lot of things are, to be honest. This movie made Peter suffer, and it was great. With great power comes great responsibility. Man, I love this movie so much. Yeah, it's great. Much. This is Spider-Man. It is Spider-Man. I'd agree with that. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the video, you guys. Okay, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you too. That's gonna be it for the video. I had a great time filming this. I had a great time giving you guys all my takes, telling you guys what I think about Spider-Man. And here, let me see if I can share the whole thing, and I can show you guys the entire thing, and I'll put it in order. I think it's already in order. Yeah, I think this is probably the order I put it in, to be honest. Homecoming or Spider-Man 3. I mean, Homecoming is probably the better movie, but it's like, I mean, Spider-Man 3 is just so fun. It's hard to, I'll put it like this. I think that's good. Okay, I'd say, for the most part, I'd say this is probably how I'd put it. Spider-Verse, I'd say, is number 2 for me. And then number 1, Spider-Man 2. That's gonna be it for the video, guys. I hope you guys had a great time doing this. I had a great time filming this. Merry Christmas to everybody. I can't believe I'm filming this on Christmas. That's great. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the video. See you guys in the next one. Bye.